In tonight's headlines, activist Anges Chow says she will probably never return to Hong Kong more than 2 months after she was granted permission to study in Canada. Health experts form an alliance in hopes of avoiding the economic and human carnage from COVID-19. And top officials once again defend Hong Kong's status as an international financial hub.
One of the most prominent opposition activists in Hong Kong revealed she is now studying in Canada and will probably never return to Hong Kong. Anges Chow, who co-founded the dissolved political group Demo Sisto, was arrested in August 2020 on suspicion of colluding with foreign elements. She was never charged and remains on bail. National Security Police initially confiscated her passport, but agreed to let her travel overseas to pursue a master's degree in Toronto. Writing on Instagram on her 27th birthday, Chow said she had to agree to a list of demands. They included taking a day trip to Shenzhen accompanied by national security officers, visiting a patriotic exhibition, as well as the headquarters of tech giant Tencent. Chow said the trip's aim was to educate her about China's remarkable achievements. She was able to leave Hong Kong in September and was scheduled to report to police at the end of this month. But after careful consideration of the city's situation, personal safety, physical and mental well-being, Chow said she would not be coming back. She emphasized it was never her intention to skip bail, as she had already bought a flight ticket. Chow also revealed she was suffering from anxiety disorder and depression over the past year or so, constantly fearing arrest since her release from prison in June 2021 for a separate offense. Responding to a media inquiry, police condemned any irresponsible act which openly challenged the rule of law. A spokesman said Chow was granted permission to travel overseas because of her cooperative attitude. The statement called on Chow not to go down a path of no return and become a fugitive for the rest of her life. Janice Yu, Cable News.
To better prepare Hong Kong for future respiratory disease outbreaks, medical experts including Yun Kwok Yung and Zhong Nanshan have set up the Pandemic Research Alliance. Yun, the city's leading microbiologist, believes there is a 50% chance that viruses as strong as COVID will surface in the next 25 years. The world may lose another $16 trillion and 7 million people, he said, referring to the global damage by COVID. One of the alliance's goals is to avoid lockdowns or school closures in the next epidemic. This can be done by the effective use of rapid antigen tests for early virus detection, as well as the timely production of vaccines to minimize fatalities. Around 200 medical experts across Asia-Pacific also attended a seminar at Chinese University this morning, aiming to ramp up resilience against future outbreaks. Health Chief Lo Chung-Mao pointed out an effective public health system is critical in the fight against diseases.
The COVID-19 pandemic was as much an ordeal as providing an opportunity for policymakers and public health experts to thresh out innovative approaches to tackle novel and emerging diseases, to reinforce our healthcare systems and to weave closer collaboration networks with community stakeholders, as well as regional and international collaborators.
He said the government will continue to step up surveillance against the next epidemic. Janice Low, Cable News. The National People's Congress has designated December 4th as Constitution Day, celebrating the adoption of the overarching law 41 years ago. Hong Kong's disciplinary forces did their part by holding a solemn flag-raising ceremony at the Immigration Service Institute in Tuen Mun this morning. Justice Secretary Paul Lam and Security Chief Chris Tang were present.
喺呢個前提之下，先能夠做到一國兩制嘅行穩致遠。
In his speech, Lam emphasized that the one country, two systems principle can only be implemented steadily by upholding the Constitution. He added, it is the responsibility of every Chinese citizen to learn and respect the law. To enhance public education, the government and Beijing's liaison office jointly organized a seminar at the Convention and Exhibition Center with the theme of Constitution and Chinese modernization. Heavyweights who showed up included Liaison Office Director Zheng Yanxiong, Chief Executive John Lee, as well as Chief Justice Andrew Zheng and other senior officials. In his speech, Zheng said the SAR government should resolutely enforce the national security law and penalize acts and activities that threaten national security. In his latest policy address, Lee confirmed that the legislation of Basic Laws Article 23 will be completed next year. Zheng pointed out that the legislation against treason, secession, sedition, and subversion will ensure a stable environment for foreign investors and entrepreneurs to conduct business in the SAR. Turning to a different topic, Lee emphasized the need to ensure that only patriots administer Hong Kong. He was referring to the electoral reform, which included layers of safeguards when vetting candidates for public posts. The first district council elections under the revamped rules will take place this Sunday, and Lee once again urged everyone to head to the polls. Janice Low, Cable News.
Indonesian authorities are searching for 12 hikers who went missing after the volcano on Mount Merapi in western Sumatra erupted. 11 others were found dead as rescuers worked through the night to bring back those stranded to safety. A group of 75 hikers were on their way to the 2,900-meter summit when the volcano first erupted 2 days ago. Another bigger eruption yesterday spewed thick columns of smoke and spread an ash cloud several kilometers into the atmosphere. Ash and dust have blanketed several villages at the foothills of the volcano, where about 1,400 people reside.
Israel says it is expanding its military operation to all areas of the Gaza Strip, 4 days after fighting resumed upon the collapse of a ceasefire. Footage released by the Israeli army showed troops operating in various areas on the ground. A military spokesman posted instructions on social media asking Palestinians from about 20 zones in central Gaza to move south and seek shelter. Gaza officials said that more than 700 Palestinians have been killed since Israel resumed their airstrikes after a 7-day truce ended on Friday. Human rights groups fear that civilians are running out of places to hide, on top of the shortages of food and water they are already facing.
Briefing lawmakers about Hong Kong's fiscal position, Financial Secretary Paul Chan admitted the government could end up with a deficit of more than $100 billion this financial year. He also expected the 2024-25 year to stay in the red, but insisted the administration remains financially sound. Replying to recent claims by mainland netizens that Hong Kong's days as an international financial center are over, Chan invited doubters to come and see for themselves the city's many advantages. But he conceded Hong Kong's economic recovery is slower than expected. He said this can partly be blamed on the uncertain geopolitical environment and the interest rate hike cycle around the world. That said, Monetary Authority Chief Executive Eddie Yu was confident that Hong Kong will continue to thrive. Speaking at a conference this morning, Yu said the attendance of business heavyweights at an investment summit last month reflected the undeniable potential and solid foundation of Hong Kong as an international financial hub. But as a small open economy, Hong Kong is inevitably affected by high interest rates around the world. He expects economic growth to be sluggish next year, but called on Hong Kongers to have faith. Janice Yu, Cable News.
There was relief for China Evergrande after the High Court adjourned the liquidation hearing for the property giant until January next year. Major investors had a last-minute change of heart and decided to give the Shenzhen-based developer some more time to sort out their financial woes. Evergrande has been trying to restructure more than $300 billion of debt to stave off liquidation. However, creditors have rejected its latest proposal, and a group of ad hoc investors said they would push for liquidation if the petitioners dropped the lawsuit. The news prompted Evergrande stock to gain 9.2% today. The Hang Seng Index meanwhile hit a 13-month low, losing 1.1%. Trading was suspended for WuXi Biologics after the pharmaceutical firm plunged 23.8% on a bleak revenue forecast. Its research and development subsidiary WuXi AppTec slid 8.8%.